What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for March 24th, 2025. 4.1 had an update every single day this week, but it still does not feel ready. CIG also unveiled 2 new store purchases this week, so nobody even noticed it wasn't ready. And we might hear about CitizenCon soon, but it certainly will not be in Los Angeles. All that and more on today's Week in Review. And as always, if this is your first week in review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news each week, put it into one video, and share some of my opinions about it. I also live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/SaltEMike, so come by and hang out if you haven't yet. But before we get into the video, let me share with you today's sponsor. Do you get bored eating the same meals every day like I do? I had to switch things up, and who better to do it with than HelloFresh? They have 50 plus dinner options and even more that suit any healthy lifestyle. Years ago, before ever trying HelloFresh, I was told I had to have the tacos. And this is actually my first time trying them, and I see what I was missing. I tried these one-pan Santa Fe pork tacos, and they were great. The best part about them is everything is pre-portioned. I actually freaked out a bit when making them. I started cooking the pork and added the whole seasoning packet, but it was already the correct amount. And because of this, I save money since I'm only paying for exactly what I need, and I'm saving time since I don't have to drive to the grocery store. On top of that, we all live busy lives, and HelloFresh is so easy to customize week to week. I have dental surgery next week, and I don't think I'm going to be eating anything solid, and it will just be a couple clicks to skip a week. It's super easy. And lastly, you can support my channel if you click the link in the caption or use my code and get 10 free meals. Plus, you get free breakfast for life. 1 breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. If you're in the US, outside of the US, the local discount will apply. And as always, thanks for checking out our sponsors. My wife and I had shepherd's pie from HelloFresh last night, and it was excellent. Now we have a week's worth of patches to get through, so let's just dive right in. All right, well, Monday we'll start the week with nothing too exciting. The usual polish to the locations and Valakar and such. They added some more NPC wildlines, but I sat there for a while and didn't see too much.
I think it might have something to do with the altitude. Like, maybe there's trace elements of some gas that stimulates the taste buds or something.
I've heard, stranger, if you can believe that.
They removed item recovery for a lot of the Wicklow items, and they also updated the deny item icon or whatever. The SRV was nerfed really bad by accident, it seems, because they brought it back up to a fuel number that makes a whole lot more sense. And then handyman missions were back, and they were working properly. I don't think the missions are too special, but yeah, tie this in with engineering and base building and things like that. It starts to get interesting if they ever do that stuff. We can't even get Hathor done. And everyone's favorite is back. Courier missions, but they are a bit different. I went to a cave to steal some cargo and deliver it. There are also missions where, you can walk into the stations and you don't leave them. You go from like medical to somewhere else in the station and deliver little boxes. Both of these are only in Pyro right now, and they're pretty easy. Tuesday, open PTU still, and yeah, they are doing visual polish, of course, Valakar, hearing and perception polish, but the big changes that we noticed in the patch was around loot crate and medical loot crate polish. Now, I didn't see a whole lot in the crates, but what started to show up got interesting, and it was outside of the crates. It's ship components at Hathor. It's been reported that Meta CZ items were here. Now, I mostly saw stuff that would be worth selling or reprocessing one day, but it was, not nothing that I would use in a meta build today, really, but other people saw, contested zone level stuff. They also did something super weird. They disabled the kill animal contracts this patch, and it's the only patch that someone might actually want to do them because a lot of the Wykello loot can be found using these quests, specifically Cave Copian Horn. So not sure why they would do this, but expect a lot of complaints from people since caves are next to impossible to find without a third-party site. So yeah, that's not fun. And even if you do use the third-party site, it's not very fun to do anyway. For bugs, they allow you to remove the ROC mining laser with the tractor beam now, although it is a bit finicky. Lastly, the multi-tool can highlight ROC minables and possibly could break them in a group, but I haven't tried that yet. Wednesday, we have, I'm not sure what the goal was for the armistice change with Wicklow, so feel free to comment below on what their intentions might be, but they do look like they are trying to open piracy up with these, just not at the physical location itself. Outside, a little Volt rifle improvements were made. The real content was something weird. They released the new Argo Atlas, Geo, and the Drake Golem to some Evocati members. I'm an Evocati member. I didn't get one, but thank you to PC101. He lent me his, and I checked them both out. The Drake is a 32 SCU mining ship with a bespoke mining laser that seems like it wants to focus on power, but for some reason it felt less powerful than an Ardor to me. I don't know what your experiences were, but mine were really bad with that laser. It just felt weak. But the ship is super cool looking, and they have two SCU containers that are shaped like 16 SCU containers, but they're actual mining bags. There's also no interior with this thing. The Geo was crazy fun, but we will hear more updates on that in video updates. Now on Thursday, we start out with a new loading screen around the next event. Clearly, they're looking for us to gather the new minables to fix whatever issues we have with respawning. The story seems a bit disconnected since I doubt we'll have any respawn issues, right? If anything, we're getting respawn buffs with the tier 0 item recovery thing. Outside of that, we have the Corsair loadout properly fixed to the standard that they want, which is 4 size 4s and 2 size 5s. For bugs, they said freight elevators might be fixed. They certainly were for me, but my entire shard had 5 players on it and 1 on my server. On another server, it was broken. So I don't think they're fixed just yet. Friday, 4.1 open PTU, still nothing live yet. A lot of people were speculating that it was going to go live on Friday. It's clearly coming to the end of the line, though, for this patch, as there were no feature updates. The only real thing worth noting is they finally fixed some broken missiles. It was EM missiles that were the problem size ones in particular, the Task Force and the Pioneer. These had huge explosion radiuses that would kill components faster than expected. These were only missiles used in the last little while by anyone who knew the meta, but not sure if this is entirely fixed. This was a potential fix, but it is certainly fixed in the numbers. Now, with that, let's move on to video updates. This week was a behind the ships titled Argo Atlas Geo, and they started showing and explaining to the player what the Argo Atlas is, but then they explain what the Geo variant will be.
The Geo's beam is a vehicle mining beam.
But with the press of a button, you can reduce the power to fit the expected power of an FPS mineable. The Geo does not have the regular tractor beam, it only comes with the mining arm and the mining laser. But the biggest improvement or the biggest addition that the Geo will have is a giant backpack.
It's like one of the regular cargo boxes. You can just pop it in. It'll fill it with ore as you mine.
And it's got a little multi-tool storage on the bottom where you have your multi-tool, mining gadget, and the big FPS tractor beam.
Now, I think the most important thing said was that with the press of a button, this thing can both break small hand minables and larger minables, usually exclusive to the ROC. So the versatility of this is its strong point. Now, the cargo box that was mentioned is where it differs the most from the ROC. This only has 10 centi SCU or CSCU, while the ROC has 80. 8 times that. So if you don't want to constantly deal with filling up and the logistics of things, you might actually pass on this. Now, next, they explain what really takes it above the rest. And yes, the pun was intended.
The most unique thing about the Geo is a new functionality: jump and hover.
So the jumping is my favourite bit of it. It lets you jump quite high. You've got to charge up the jump first, of course, but then you can leap quite big distances.
You can enforce the jump or simmer down the jump or the landing process by firing the thrusters.
You can press space to jump and then keep pressing space or hold it to give a thrust and kind of fly.
While you're in the air, you can maintain a small hover. You can adjust your aiming as you're landing. If you get stuck in like a ravine or something, you can jump out to escape.
So this thing flies. Enough said. It can outpace ground vehicles in a lot of cases and can avoid annoying surface obstacles better than most. Lastly, there were improvements made to the entire Atlas series, and they explain them here.
We also did some updates to the existing Atlas, so it has now a health bar integrated into the frame, so you always see the health status of your Atlas. It also has a battery slot now, not used as of now, but will be used once the engineering gameplay comes in. And apart from that, we did some tweaks to the animations, so there are some death animations that we now have.
We've added some small thrusters that allow you to land a little bit more gracefully when you're falling from a cliff, or when you jump out of a ship, or falling from a greater height.
The Atlas has its own little thrusters. I think these are just visual, and it can die now. So there are death animations, and it generally has less issues as well. So good on them for fixing the Atlas. And with that, that was video updates. Nothing on the Drake ship, though, which is very peculiar and very interesting. I'm not sure what was going on there, because they also took them out of the patches as well. So not sure what's happening with these, when we'll see them. The Geos is said to be in 4.1, but who knows? So with that, let's jump into some other updates. Starting out with the sneak peek, again, not much of a sneak, as anyone playing the PTU, which has been open for quite a while, knows that this is Wickelow's Emporium, the place where you interact with our first barter mission giver. I really hope they build this out a bit more, as it's really cool already, in terms of the gameplay, not visuals or anything like that. Enough visuals for Star Citizen. But yeah, I hope it's just not a one-off thing and we're interacting with him quite often. Now for Patch Watch, we finally got one of these posts, which is made up by the community team. I think Chris in this case, that keeps us up to date with a list of general changes coming in the next patch. So they list a lot of things that we've covered over the last couple weeks. They started out with ship balance, again, the Corsair getting its guns back, and the pilot-controlled weapons that they never had before. Speaking of that, they mentioned what we mentioned last week, the Valkyrie getting its pilot weapons back, along with a number of other ships. They changed the way collision damage works with ships, so a tiny ship won't destroy your solo Polaris anymore. And they also updated the radar to make it easier to read. For Arena Commander, the main thing here is that Theaters of War map is in Crossroads of Crime, but I think it will be much cooler on live, as in the PTU, there's just not as many players playing. And then for the next single weapon elimination, it's going to be the Ripper SMG. The AI one is kind of funny because it says AI are going to be more reactive, even on these small servers. They have been, but not as much as you would expect. I see it yeah, we'll see how it goes on live. It's just funny when they say things are going to be good when server dependency has still been an issue even with meshing. Last one is mining changes, and yeah, they want the separation between what you can mine by hand and the vehicle, and then they make a vehicle that does both again. Yeah, I don't know. So CitizenCon, a community member asked, when will we find out the date? Because yeah, we got to take our days off. We got to get flights. We got to get hotels, things like that, right? And Xylo popped in to let us know that we'll hear about it soon. So nothing crazy there, no actual information, but that we will hear about it soon. But we know it's not going to be in Los Angeles because, yeah, the LA office is closing. And I think anybody who paid any attention to the layoffs in the last few years are not surprised that the LA studio is closing. I can only imagine how expensive, yeah, that must have been, right? So it's certainly the end of an era. I've been there, I think once, maybe twice. It was cool. The people that worked there were amazing, especially the ones that were behind the scenes that, you know, were never on camera. They were such nice people. It was really awesome. But yeah, because they're closing, every account will get a poster of the constellation that was in Chris Roberts' office when he worked there. So little sad way to end the video, but that's where we will leave it. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed this. Comment on anything that we talked about and anything I might have missed. And yeah, subscribe for more Weeks in Review. And hopefully next week we have some positive information about 4.1, because right now I have still not seen Hathor work properly one time without being broken, unless the server had 5 players on it. So fingers crossed this is the week, and yeah, that we go live and it's all good. But thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will catch you next week.